Recasting of Frank Stone. It's like the longest title ever. I always wondered, when people are making movies and games, like who the heck is typing out the title of every single page and script, and like, that's gotta be a pain. And the title's just way too long. I mean, it's always been about simplicity and easy and basic and simple, but whatever. When I first heard about this game, is interesting because I was like, wait a minute. DVD, online, matchmaking, multiplayer, and condensed into like a single player game? What? I was so confused. I don't know much about it, and it kind of weirded me out and freaked me out because I was skeptical about it, and it's like, wait a minute, what is that? How would that even work? Because I've never, when I think of online based games that have been around forever, you never really hear about like, oh, here's a single player story game that was based on this online non-single player story or game. There might be some of those things out there, like little weird spin-offs or tie-ins or something, but like something that was marketing on the sole fact that this was definitely 75% DVD, 25% supermassive. I only watched a little bit before I played myself, or had an idea of what it was, but I didn't think too much of it. I didn't really connect it to like, oh, okay, this is just like Until Dawn, the Corey Dark Anthology. I mean, if you watch for 5 minutes, you can pick up on it, no problem, but it's just weird. It's interesting. You wonder what the process is, like working together type thing, like, because DVD itself, they do licensed stuff, but they have all their original stuff as well. So it's like a licensed, non-licensed thing. Just kind of awkward. It was cool though, because when I played this, I was really craving like more of the cinematic cutscene, theatrical, choice-based decision-making, branching games. Because they're kind of nice to play once in a while. Something different. You're not doing this full mobility, 360, all-around movement, looting, shooting, combat, melee, FPS, third person, like platformer, whatever any other game could be that I'm so used to playing so often normally. This is definitely a nice break where you can pretty much sit back and relax, but obviously, yeah, there's QTEs and you still have to kind of move around a little bit, but it's just nice to play. It's refreshing. Sometimes you need to contrast a game like this with most things that you probably normally play, because it's a nice way to mix it up and change the scenery a bit and do something different. And not only is it this cutscene based type thing, but then you throw the horror genre into that as well. Go play a happy game one day, a horror game the next. Just kind of... It was nice. But yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect if you play those other games, is it's more of that with the DVD in it, which is cool and all, but I myself don't really... I've only played that game a few times, and I watched quite a bit of it. But I don't play it all day, every day. I didn't really look at it like, oh, a game related to the game I normally play. Cool, great. Something like take a break from playing that game and then playing basically the same exact thing, just in a different format. I got to look at it like, okay, I've dabbled with that game, blah blah blah, but I've seen so much of it too, and between my experience with that game specifically, I was able to play this game with such open-minded eyes and like, okay, I'm not biased towards anything. I'm not always kind of like, oh my god, this and that. But there's so many basic references. It's so cool how they put in so much of what you know of the game where it was mostly based on, is based on, whatever, the world of. I don't know how big the world is, but it was just nice to see a bit of that game, kind of a chapter of it explained, and you get more depth out of it and get an idea of what it is that you're watching most of the time or playing, which is DVD. You get more context, more layers. Maybe not specifically or in a detailed way, but just overall, like, okay, it's nice to see this depicted in a separate kind of, you know, there's books, there's movies, there's shows, there's music, whatever you want to make shit into. I don't know, it's nice. And the design of the killer here, he's really very DVD-esque. Like, I can see him being in the game. And of course you'll hear rumors or think like, okay, eventually they'll put him in the main game, which is where he'd get the most exposure. Yeah, this one was weird because to me, being a non-DVD fanboy, I don't know, it's just nice because I got to play that game through this game. It was literally made just for the audience that I'm in, the crowd, the community that I would be a part of. Like, hey, I like the vibes here, but I don't want to. It's not me or who I am or what I can identify or relate with. It's something I don't want to commit to every single day. Well, here you go. You got like a day's worth of game right here. It literally took me about a day, like one sitting. I started it the day before, but I literally just went through the settings and got like through the intro or something. I don't know. Yeah, it was good. I don't know, there's not really a lot to it. I mean, me with these games, I don't look too deep into it, the story, what's going on, who's who, what's what. I just kind of play and sit back, and gives me a break from not having to bust my ass running around like a crazy person with his head cut off, doing everything that you do in so many other games. There's just, you're constantly pressing buttons, you're doing so much so often that, like, me, I'm just like, sometimes I just don't want to play anything. I just want to sit here and do a whole lot of nothing. Cause I'm kind of lazy. I don't mind playing whatever really, but sometimes I just get like burnt out, or like instead of getting up and taking breaks during that session, it's nice to play something where the whole thing is kind of like a little break. I can just sit there and watch. Watching is a lot easier than playing. It's a lot nicer. As much as I like playing things myself, I enjoy it just as much. Maybe not more or less really, but about the same, I guess. Watching as I do playing, so. Because you can kind of be in your own comfort zone, and you can kind of go at your own pacing and your own, be on your own time, and like you're not locked into something necessarily, and you can get up whenever you want. Or like the game I was playing before this, I was just running around like crazy. I was wasting so much time. That's another thing, time. Like, I just want to play something and like move on to the next game, man. I can't be bothered getting stuck playing one thing for too long. It just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, the game had good cutscenes.
I'm assuming you're the night watchman here.
I am.
Or just you? Covering the entire site?
Oh, no. I got help.
Where are they now? On duty?
Of a manner. Merlin just goes where he pleases.
Yeah. Since I played the game it's based off only so often, I can't really compare it too much in that way. I've had obviously a much more hands-on experience with the games it's related to. Supermassive, the Telltales, whatever else there is, the studios. I don't really even know who makes anything anymore. It all just kind of like blends together. Yeah, it was, I knew what I was getting into and so I have experience playing these type of games, which is nice. That always helps kind of, jumping in. It was just really interesting because it was such a mix of two different worlds that came together in one package, and I was like, oh my god, scratch marks, I know what that is. Oh, skill checks. The killer references, you know, you jump in knowing what to expect in two different ways. It's not even like, oh, shocking, ooh, ah, it's just kind of like, yep, typical, but like in a good way. And normally that's not like a good thing. But you're very standard. You get what you know what you're getting into. It was cool though, because like you never know what to expect next, because you're like, okay, this looks familiar, this, that, which is always nice to kind of do, because the thing with the other games like this is that they're so random and they're so like general, like, ooh, witch stuff and ghosts, and there's not much to really go on. It's just kind of this random story-ish type thing that became a game, and you play it and you're watching and it's over and you move on. Like, there's not much to really... Yes, there's twists and turns, but nothing too crazy, like... At least for me, that's like, ooh, like... Holy cow. The twist and the plot. I try not to, like, get too deep into that stuff, because... You know, I just want a good game to play with good gameplay. I'm happy. Something that I like, that I'm interested in, related to stuff that I enjoy, my hobbies, my interests. Because I've seen so much of these type things, like everything, I've seen so many movies and shows and music, and to me it's all kind of just, it's just more of the same stuff, really. It's just kind of just slightly different, so I don't know. Which isn't a bad thing, because it's like, hey, it's more of stuff that I like. That's good. But it's just nothing's new to me. Nothing really grasps me or catches me or hooks me, or... Because, man, we've been living off recycled material for a long time, and that's fine. As long as it's good. But the funny thing with that is, like, there's always a standard. Like, even if you get the fan part out of your head for 2 seconds, like, a lot of movies, well, games, this is a game, but... Well, I bring up movies too because it's funny, because this game is a real big tribute to horror movies. It's a real nice, what's the other word I'm looking for? Tribute? Homage? A nice dedication to where the core of this game comes from. If it wasn't for the horror genre, this game wouldn't even exist. In fact, all these games that are based on this, which is weird to think about, like, why are all these movie cutscene games only based on horror? I'm not complaining. I mean, yeah, this has nothing to do with, like, other cinematic type games, God of War, Uncharted, PlayStation stuff, Ratchet and Clank, Detroit Becomes Human, Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain, like things like that. That's kind of a whole nother different thing. This is obviously a very specific, condensed genre that'll appeal to whoever. Once you play one of these games, you'll play all of them. That's why I played this one, because I was like, well, DVD, I can take it or leave it. I like the concept. But the fact that it's also something that I would have normally naturally played anyway, it kind of just worked out. And I only didn't even start to get into games like this until not a year or two ago, not even that. So yeah, it was nice to kind of just play something familiar, and because not a lot of times I get to do that. I play so many different things, variety, that it's hard to kind of keep on that same page and keep some kind of a flow going, or some sort of steady, stable, solid structure or foundation of what it is that I'm trying to kind of play and put out there. And like everything I play and do, and it's all for a reason. So I'm just trying to make a place where, like, all these really just cool things that I enjoy, and as well as others. I mean, that's kind of the point, but like, I don't even need to get into that, but this game just fits so well within that category, and my profile and my reputation. It's nice to add it to the list. It'll look good on my resume. Okay, I've played that. I've done, I've been there. No big deal. Because when I got it, I was really excited to play it. Normally I don't get that hyped about. Like, I wasn't hyped, but I was just hyped enough to be like, okay, some breathing room. A game where I can kind of just focus a little bit and kind of literally breathe and just, play something that's gonna ground me and tether me a little bit more to this mortal coil of a life in this world. And it's one of those subconscious things you may or may not embrace or think about enough, is that, like, I'm always watching something horror related. I'm always living in this world. I'm always, so being able to express that properly and participate in something exactly like this is perfect, because it just kind of really hits home. And it's so rare that I get that too, because one minute it's a racing game, it's a fighting game, it's a open world game, it's an RPG, it's a JRPG, it's an anime game, it's a military game, it's a third-person shooter, it's a first-person shooter, it's a plot, like all these things I listed even beforehand, earlier. There's so many different game types. Granted, there's a lot of games I stay away from, like MOBAs and MMOs and RTS, and I mean, Jesus, there's so many. I don't really play like puzzle games, or like, I don't play a lot of indies a whole lot. I don't play enough of them, to be honest. But just, I don't know. This really, one reason why I like this studio and this genre is because they know that there are people out there like just like me, who, like, hey, I want to play a game. I'm participating. I'm doing my part. But just give me something where I don't have to, like, I mean, my God, dude, you don't even notice it, like how many buttons you're pressing and how much work games make you put into them. It's ridiculous. It doesn't even matter if it's hard or not. It's just simply playing a game. Like, it can be... It might take you a certain amount of time depending on your playstyle, all these things, and it takes your life energy out of you. These games, that's what they do. But that's exactly like movies, music, it's the same, you know, it's... They're nice products, but they're sucking up your soul. Which is fine, I guess. Gameplay's good.
Hello? Anyone here? It's police.
Another thing that threw me off at first, because when I first heard about this game, I didn't look up pictures or trailers or nothing. I watched like a few segments of some people playing, and that was literally it. But yeah, I was like, what the casting of Frank Stone, what the hell does that mean? That's like the most random title I've ever heard. I was like, because there's a lot of... Are you thinking casting couch, dude? Is this a movie thing? Casting, like fishing? what are we talking here? Who the hell's Frank? That sounds like the most made up name I've ever heard. Frank Stone. What is this, the Flintstones or some shit? Like... But... You know, on the DVD thing, I was just totally like, I don't know what this is, man, but I'm just gonna wait for it to come out and do its thing and present itself to me and just either accept it or whatever. But yeah, when you combine the title with the world that it came from, with the studio and the style and the genre, all these things, it makes sense. Like at first I was kind of weirded out, because this isn't really my realm of... I'm not familiar enough with it to like I don't follow these games to a T. I'm not on looking up every little thing. I used to. I should more. Normally you let everyone kind of do that work for me. Like, oh, this game's out, cool. Should I get it? I like to be surprised. I like to be blind. I like to be kind of... I love first playthroughs. I love kind of being shocked, and because it takes so much to even hit me at all that I really need stuff like that, or else I'm kind of just, you know, what's the point? Because then I just lose like all interest, or if I don't have a reason to sit on this chair and sit in front of a game for hours on end, X amount of hours. It's gotta be good, or else there's just... It's just a wait. It won't even bother. But these are just good enough within their own right, where it justifies spending that time and making that exception, getting the game at all, and having it in your storage, and making that purchase, and having the funds to do it, and hopefully, at the same time, actually looking forward to it. It's gotta be worth it, or else it's not. And on one hand, I treat games as just games, but on the other hand, I do care about every little thing that I play, and it all means something, and I try to make it meaningful and impactful, and I want it to make sense why I played this, and when, and how, and where, and, or whatever. So yeah, to me, it's important, because it's like another piece of the puzzle of what makes up who I am and me, and this is just another way to kind of put that kind of together and come up with that picture and help, because that's what this game, that's what things do for me originally. I get messages and signals from them, and it teaches me things, and you learn lessons, and makes you think and put yourself in other shoes and different mindsets, and it's a really healthy thing to explore, and that's what we do. we expand, pioneers. It's nice to find things to kind of, because I don't have that one thing. Some people do, just fine. I guess just for me specifically, I need a lot of different things to kind of make up this one thing. You ask yourself the big question, who am I? Yeah, this is a game that can do a lot of that too. It also reminded me of especially at first, it kind of reminded me of PT a little bit, Silent Hill. I was like, wait, is this like a psychological thing? Like, I know these games just well enough to be like, that's probably not the case, but there is always that trippy kind of aspect to it, which kind of threw me off at first, because you think of it as such a normal bait, you know, like, oh, this is gonna be a... It's kind of like how I see Life is Strange. It's like, I've never played that, but I've watched some. It's like, oh, you know, you're just this everyday average girl or guy or whatever, and then, you know, all of a sudden, there's powers and all this supernatural. That's why these games are as good as they are, because there is kind of that, there's gotta be that thing that just takes it away. And what that is in this game, it's just from simply being a part of DBD. When you think of that game, when you're exposed to it enough to get the idea of, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I don't need to know, but I'm interested and I'm fascinated enough to give a shit. Like, oh yeah, there's like these weird lights and powers and things, and woo, the unexplainable. And this game does a good job at doing that. It just builds on every other game that came before it that's done something similar, which is nice. And it's looking even better than before. Every time one of these games come out, it just looks better and better. Like, how good can these games get, man? I mean, they still look a little funny with, like, when the smiling and the teeth, and it always looks very just awkward. And yeah, these games are, I don't know if it's just the platform I'm on specifically, but these games are almost looking too good. I don't know if it's hard for, I think, the technology to keep up with the demands of the games. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, you're thinking too, like, dude, at some point these games are gonna look so good where it's just, you cannot tell the difference between, I don't know if that's ever gonna be possible, but wow. Yeah, I don't know, good game, good graphics, good concept, good story, blah blah blah. Can't really go wrong. It's definitely worth a try. I mean, like, for me, it's one of many games, but it's the games I am still very selective of what I touch. I can be kind of picky, so it's definitely worth it if it's convenient. I think that convenient factor is a big one, but even throughout time or whatever it may be, like, it's just something you can't not play, because if you've only played the other stuff like it, and or at least trying to be a part of this kind of online game that you have almost nothing to do with directly, but yeah, I don't know. It was very nice. How much? But yeah. Casting of Frank Stone.